Iowa State has not really ever been known for their football program over their 132 years of existence. They have never won the Big 12 Conference and have only played in the conference title game once. They have an all-time losing record with 554 wins to 670 losses and 46 ties. And for the most part of their history, they've been dominated by in-state rival Iowa, even going on a 15-game losing streak from 1983 to 1997. That all changed under head coach Matt Campbell, who just became the school's winningest head coach. This is the rise of Iowa State football under Matt Campbell. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who your favorite school is in the Big 12 in the comments section below. For the arrival of Matt Campbell, the last time a coach left Iowa State with a winning record was Earl Bruce with a record of 36-32, and he coached from 1973 to 1978. To find the next coach who left with a winning record, you have to go all the way back to Charles Macer, who had a 21-11-3 record from 1915 to 1919. Dan McCarney, the school's all-time winningest head coach, until Campbell arrived, found some success leading the Cyclones to win a share of the Big 12 North title, but losing the tiebreaker to Colorado, which led to him being named the Big 12 Coach of the Year. Under McCarney, they would go to 5 bowl games, winning 2 of them, and finish with a 9-3 season in 2000 and multiple 7-win seasons. After 12 seasons at the helm, McCarney would resign, hoping to re-energize the program, following a 4-8 season that saw them win 1 game in Big 12 play. Athletic Director Jamie Pollard told the media it became apparent to us over the past several weeks that the momentum had been lost. There wasn't much that he or I could do to get that momentum back. Iowa State's football program has to be healthy for us to have any chance to compete in the Big 12. If football isn't healthy, we get stuck. The school was struggling to raise money for renovations to Jack Trice Stadium, and they were beginning to fall into obscurity. The McCarney decision was tough for everyone, with Pollard going on to say, "I clearly didn't get into this profession for moments like this. No one wanted Dan McCartney to be more successful than myself. If I had one wish right now, it would be that this isn't happening. But that's not an option." McCarney finished with a record of 56-85 as head coach. He brought the program back to a bowl game for the first time in 22 years, was 1 win away from the Big 12 title game multiple times. It was viewed as Iowa State's golden age at the time. McCarney was replaced with highly touted Texas defensive coordinator Gene Chizik. Under Chizik, they reintroduced gold pants to the uniform and pulled upset wins over Kansas State, Colorado, and Iowa throughout the season. Chizik would go 2-10 in year 2 and bolted to take the Auburn head coaching job, going 5-19 in 2 years at Iowa State. It still blows my mind that he was able to land the Auburn head coaching job with that record. Auburn defense coordinator Paul Rhodes was not retained by Chizik from Tommy Tuberville's staff, and instead would become Iowa State's next head football coach. They rebounded from the disaster that was 2008 and finished the 2009 season winning the Insight Bowl, going 7-6 overall. That would be Rhodes' only winning season as the Cyclones head coach, although they would make 2 more bowl games. Rhodes brought in an up-and-coming offense coordinator in Tom Herman when he first started at Iowa State. Rhodes would also lead Iowa State to their first ever win over Texas in 2010. In 2011, they upset number 2 Oklahoma State in double overtime, making it their first win over a top 6 team in school history and ruining Oklahoma State's chances at making the national title game. 2012 saw them beat Iowa on the road for the first time in 10 years, and they snapped number 15 TCU's longest active winning streak in college football. Unfortunately, the team would fall off a cliff following the 2012 season, as in the next 3 years they went 8-28 overall and 4-23 in conference play, not winning a conference game in 2014. Rhodes would be fired before the school season finale against West Virginia in 2015. He finished with a 32-55 record in 7 seasons. The man chosen to replace Rhodes would end up being Iowa State's greatest head football coach in program history, Matt Campbell. Campbell was Toledo's head coach at the time. During the 2014 season, Toledo would lose a close game to Iowa State 37-30, and he told ESPN, "After we played the Cyclones in Ames, I called my wife and said, 'You simply would not believe this place. Their fans, the game day environment and facilities are all incredible. You could see us living in Ames and me coaching the Cyclones someday.'" Toledo tried to hold on to Campbell, who went 35-15 in 4 seasons, but they cannot sway him away from leaving for Iowa State. Given the Cyclones' history to the point, just 12 bowl games in 12 decades, 0 conference championships since 1912, and few call the school a destination. Campbell, though, saw a place with a lot of potential, and he wanted to take the Cyclones from the laughingstock of college football to national relevance. Although Iowa State would go 3-9 in their first season, Campbell is laying the groundwork, with former Cyclone wide receiver Alan Lazard telling ESPN back in 2021, when Coach Campbell and his staff came in, they immediately changed the culture from day one. They required new standards, new expectations, and held us to a way higher level of accountability than a lot of us, especially me, were usually held to. Campbell emphasized details, punctuality, technique, winning in the margins, as he called it. Campbell told ESPN, "Year 1 we had to learn how to believe. In year 2 we had to learn how to win." Players bought in, like David Montgomery, who chose to watch film and get a late night workout in on Friday nights rather than go out. As the season went on, more and more players joined him. Iowa State would improve, going 8-5 in 2017 and snapped an 8-game losing streak to Oklahoma, who went on to play in the college football playoff, and Iowa State rose as high as number 14 in the AP poll. They went on to win the Liberty Bowl. For the 2018 season, Campbell said, "Winning a game like we did against Oklahoma showed us and our kids that here's what it takes to be successful." 2018 saw quarterback Brock Purdy take over the starting role in their win over number 6 West Virginia in 2018, as they finished 8-5 once again, but this time losing the Alamo Bowl. 2019 saw the arrival of Breece Hall, who performed immediately as a freshman as the Cyclones finished the season 7-6 and lost the Cheez-It Bowl. But 2020 would be where everything would change. While the world was in chaos, the Cyclones would have their best season in school history. Although they would be shocked by Louisiana in the season opener, they would win 3 straight games, including an upset win over Oklahoma 37-30 at home. They would lose to number 6 Oklahoma State 24-21, proceeded to win 6 straight games, and earned their first spot to play in the Big 12 title game for the first time in school history. Ranked number 6 in the college football playoff ranking, they would fall 27-21 to number 10 Oklahoma, but would still earn a spot in the Fiesta Bowl, where they beat Oregon 34-17. It was their first ever New Year's Six bowl game in school history, and they finished number 9 in the final AP and coaches poll, their highest finish in school history. Hall finished as a dark horse Heisman candidate, rushing for 1,572 yards and 21 touchdowns, while Brock Purdy threw for 2,750 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Both Purdy and Breece Hall returned for the 2021 season, yet the program would take a step back, going 7-6. In 2022, Iowa State struggled to get their run game going, as they averaged 108 rushing yards a game compared to 2021, when they averaged 160.8 rushing yards a game, 195 a game in 2020. They tried to find a replacement for Hall, but no one could separate themselves, as Jarrell Brock led the team in rushing with 445 yards, while Hunter Decker threw for 3,044 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions as Brock Purdy's replacement. It would be the first time since year 1 under Campbell that they would not make a bowl game, ending a 5-year streak. In 2023, the Cyclones team became embroiled in an illegal sports betting scandal, and Decker and Brock were both kicked off the team, with Brock and defensive lineman Isaiah Lee being charged for illegal sports betting. Decker was banned by the NCAA for betting on a Cyclones game. He now plays at the JUCO powerhouse Iowa Western, who is not governed by the NCAA. Decker had placed a $15 bet on Iowa State, telling the Des Moines Register, "If I'm being honest, it's just kids being kids. We were just hanging out with friends, just talking about a bunch of stuff, and just doing it together. It wasn't like we were doing it in a malicious way, or trying to win, or trying to do that type of stuff. We were literally doing it as a video game. I was just a stupid kid that made a stupid decision." Rocco Beck would take over the starting quarterback job and threw for 3,120 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions during Iowa State's 2023 season that saw them go 7-6 and lose in the Liberty Bowl. Heading into the 2024 season, Iowa State was projected to finish 4th in the Big 12, according to Phil Steele. Their over-under win total was 7.5, according to Vegas, as they were expected to finish like they usually do. Instead, they would get off to a hot start. They beat North Dakota in their home opener 21-3, before traveling to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. Against the Hawkeyes, they erased a 13 and 12 point deficit in a game that was a defensive battle throughout, and kicked a game-winning field goal with 6 seconds left to win 20-19, and proved to 2-6 against Iowa under Campbell. It was an ugly game, but saw the Cyclones triumph in the end. They followed that up with a 52-7 shellacking of Arkansas State, or shutting out Houston last week 20-0. With their win over Houston, they saw their first 4-0 start since 2000, and it was also Campbell's 57th win as head coach, making him the winningest head coach in school history. Campbell told the Cyclone Radio Network after the game, "Coach Mack has been such a great mentor to us. So to even be in the same spectrum as him, I really am grateful. We wouldn't be here without him and his support, and the former players, what they've meant to our current players. It's really been special." They also won their 5th straight conference game dating back to last year, the first time in school history they achieved that. Their shutout was also their first road shutout since 1971. Iowa State could continue to roll as long as they don't hurt themselves. The remaining schedule consists of Baylor at West Virginia, UCF, Texas Tech at Kansas, Cincinnati at Utah, and Kansas State. They should be the favorites to win the conference and make the college football playoff. They are running the ball better than the past 2 seasons, averaging 163 rushing yards a game, and the defense is only allowing 7.2 points per game. Throughout his time at Iowa State, Campbell has been mentioned towards multiple big jobs like Notre Dame, USC, Wisconsin, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and others, but has stayed at Iowa State. I don't know if he has ever been a serious candidate, or if he just turned down those schools and chosen to stay at Iowa State instead. Since Campbell's arrival, the standard has been set. They found themselves back in the rankings the first time since 2005 in the early part of his tenure, and they will now look to become a college football playoff contender this year. Campbell has nearly tied the number of times Iowa State was ranked over the span of nearly 80 years. This is the golden age of Iowa State football. They also have been able to retain a lot of their staff like Taylor Mauser and Eli Rashid. Can this be the year they win 10 games for the first time in school history? We will have to wait and see. What do you think? How well does Iowa State do the rest of the year? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.